Now let's talk about how to analyze a swing for power leaks. Now, if I have actually done one of these for you, then this is going to be a review. But I thought it might be helpful to kind of do these live. Okay, so see if I can do this. Okay, so this is Bella. This is that girl that we were just talking about. This is going to be a little grainy. Sorry, it's a little side clip that was behind a game changer. But here's a swing she has. And I'm going to show you how I would break down this swing and how you should go in and analyze your kids' footage so that, because that's what this membership is for. This membership is so that I show you how to analyze this stuff, and then you get access to the drills, and then you try it, and then you can send me the footage so that we can tweak things and make those little tweaks. Because you just can't go do a drill without having somebody understand what we're trying to do and help critique. I mean, you can, but I'm trying to help you make that process easier. So let's talk about this. I think that there are, okay, first of all, I like to teach hitting from what little guys do that still hit a lot of home runs in the big leagues. Okay. So there are 17 things that we check for, and we check them in 4 different phases. So the first thing that we want to do is we want to look at what's going on in the load phase of the swing. So in the load, oh, I don't have this dialed. Okay. In the load swing, we have a hitter coiling back as they get into their rear leg. Okay. That's what we have there. So when I look at her swing, I want to look at, is she coiling her pelvis? And so as she goes back, she actually opens the pelvis. Right there, she's opening it. It's going the wrong way. She opens it so the left hip opens first, and then she closes it on the way forward, but it's opening. So it's as she sits back, she's opening it to the left side. Okay, so we don't have a coiling around the pelvis. So I would recommend that we put her into some of our loading drills. Those are inside of our members area, and so I would definitely do those. Okay, then I would give you. I showed you the movement prep exercise that was earlier with my son's foot on the wall. That we would do that movement prep exercise to help her feel what it's like. And then when we do that drill and we do it with a bat sensor, when you feel the right feeling, the bat speeds are going up. I bet she's leaving 2 or 3 miles an hour of bat speed on the table from not coiling the pelvis. So that's the first thing. The second thing we want to do is the stride phase of the swing. Okay. So a couple things that we're looking for here. So here's an example of what we want. Girls hits a bomb. Hits one the other way. This is carrying, and it is gone. And what we want to see is notice her right arm is going to pull back all the way until her toe touches. Boop. And we see that the arm is pulled back all the way until the front toe touches. And we see that the front shoulder is lower than the back. And we see if we were from the side, the tip of the barrel would be right above the head-ish. Or you could think if there was a flashlight on the knob of the bat, it would be pointing at the catcher's face. Her pelvis is starting to open. She's in a pretty good position here. So we look at her. We want to see, is the shoulder as she goes forward, do the hands pull back? Does she land with front shoulder low? That's pretty good. Okay, front shoulder's lower than the back. The knob is pointing down at the catcher. The bat's basically above the head. The rear forearm is flat. This looks like she's strode out into a good launch position. I like to make sure that as they're doing this, that their body is not going up as they stride. So that if it goes up, they come out of their legs. She's doing a good job of staying in her legs um, and pulling back as her foot gets into the ground. So the stride is good. Then if we look at the launch is, we talked about it, but we want the hip to open as if there was a rubber band stretched across their right hip to their back rib cage. Because if you quickly stretch it, you will use, and your hands are still going up until your heel gets into the ground, you will use the fascial lines of the body. That will be better. So coming back to her clip, and this gets really tricky. If I look at her heel, I'm trying to recreate, and you see her hands are still going up and back while she's landing. Okay. So that is in good sequence. She's doing a good job. Now I can't quite see her belt buckle, but I would want to see, am I seeing the belt buckle starting to fire just a little bit before the shoulders is what I'd be looking for. When we do this, I actually prescribe a drill called Big Poppy to every single person that we work with. It doesn't look like she's doing anything wrong, but I want it to happen faster. And so we want to train it with that big over exaggerated Big Poppy drill that I was showing you earlier, using a bat sensor with weighted bats and tracking G forces. Because even if you're doing it right, like we need to train it to go faster. So a lot of times we'll prescribe the same drills for kids, but one's just because, hey, use weighted bats and do this drill to make you move faster because you already move right, and others we're trying to get them to move right. So different perspectives, but this looks pretty clean. Then what we want to do is we want to go to the lower half of the swing. So what is the lower half doing? We want to see the right hip rip the back foot forward off of this yellow line while the lead leg is straightening. So I don't know if I have a shot of Bichette doing this. I think, anyways, you see this all the time. So this is one that we want to see. So we're going to come back. We're going to take a peek at it for her. We're going to see, does she, so I don't have a line here, but if I was to draw a line right there, we can see that it does not. It actually goes backwards. Okay, so now what happens is we don't have a hip thrust. And so we have both of our feet into the ground. It's more of a 50-50 launch position instead of a 100% of our foot getting into the lead leg. Now you're straightening the lead leg. We are, the pelvis is pointing towards the pitcher, but we're not getting a thrust from our rear hip. I don't think I have anybody who sent in footage with an example of this. But we want to see this not only pull forward, but slightly slide underneath them. And it shows us that we have a good pelvic deceleration pattern, which is a topic for another day. But pelvic deceleration is something that improves G forces. I know we talked about G forces later with when I was talking with Lenny's kid, but I didn't bring it up because he does a good job of decelerating his pelvis. So at least he did in the drill series. But this is a lower half that needs some work. So I would prescribe right here, for example, like a Happy Gilmore shuffle drill. And we have a couple other of lead leg and hip thrusting drills. There's a medicine ball drill that I would pair it with, where you get to feel what it's like to drive all the way forward onto the front leg while this is unweighting. And so when you do, for example, a Happy Gilmore drill, you do a full shuffle. What happens with the full shuffle is all of your weight is forced onto the lead leg. A big mistake kids will make with it is they don't do it hard enough. So both their feet stay on the ground. And if you see that as you're giving them that drill, they need to go harder. So we're trying to use forward momentum to make that happen. And then I can't see the bat very well here, but that kind of walks you through. There's some other things that we would do to break down some contact quality things. I'd need a higher resolution video so I could see that. But now what we do is, okay, we'll go and turn this into a workout. Let's do 2 loading drills. You stride out pretty good, but let's make sure we're rotating fast. Let's get a check on the bat sensor to make sure our G forces are high. So let's do a Big Poppy's third, and let's do a Happy Gilmore shuffle, specifically focusing on the rear hip thrusting forward as it sucks the line underneath. So that's how I would like break that down. Is that helpful? Do we have questions on that? Feel free to unmute yourself if you do.
No, that's great. Thanks, Chet.
Okay. Yeah, so then the next steps are you clear on next steps after this? Like I go into the members area, do those drills, film yourself doing them, send footage like I was critiquing with Lenny's kid earlier, and then we'll dial this in and we'll start building this with layers. Does that make sense?
Yeah, makes sense. Thanks.